Welcome once again to the 5 most viral board games right this second as of recording this, which is probably a day or two in the past from when you are actually able to watch this. So very likely the nature of these viral board games is they could be anything and they can change all the time. So just know that. This series is made as an extension of what I always do, typically on the weekends, drinking coffee, looking at the hotness and seeing what these games are and why are they there. These are not reviews. In fact, many of these games I have no experience with whatsoever. This is just the result of my research. But before we go any further, I first must shout out Storm and Kim. You two are the very first members to the Neon Gorilla Board Game Club. I really appreciate your support. It honestly is awesome, and I really enjoyed getting to know you in the Discord over this last week. If you're at all interested in how to support this channel and help me to keep it self-sustaining, go ahead and check out my channel page, hit the join button, watch the video, and see if that's something for you. You get early access to all videos, a member exclusive video each month, and come in the Discord and talk to the couple people that are there now. We're building a family. It is really small, and that's totally cool. I'm having a blast in there being able to chat about this stuff long form. Regardless, if you're here as a subscriber or a new viewer, I'm happy to have you, and we're going to jump into the video. We're going to work backwards on this list of hotness, and the very first game is Tikal Legends. We actually don't have a ton to go on. This is a future crowdfunding project. There are people screaming in forums as to how they want more information on what exactly Tikal Legends actually is. This was a game released in 1999. It won the Spiel des Jahres, has a pretty decent following, even 20 plus years out into the future. Basically what this game is, you are explorers. It's a hex-based map. You're exploring a hex per turn, drawing a hex, putting it out on the map and exploring. There's some area majority there. You want to have the most explorers on temple tiles. Those temple tiles are worth more and more points depending on how much you excavate there. There's a timed scoring mechanism. When there is a volcano that's actually drawn, you then do the scoring based upon who has control of the hex tiles that have temples on them, and you get the points based upon the level of temple that it is or how much you've actually excavated. My family right now is currently playing a lot of Quest for El Dorado. Not really related whatsoever. I guess thematically it's sort of loosely related, and definitely this is not a deck builder. You take actions based upon a set number of action points that you have, but it's giving me that vibe, and I thought maybe this is an opportunity to use the momentum it has in my household to maybe get the kids to play something else. Looks fairly simple. It actually looks pretty interesting. It is on BGA right now. So if you want to explore this classic a little bit, you can do it for free on BGA right this second. I'm going to do so. My hype meter is probably like a 5. I have no idea what this game is actually going to do other than what it already does in the videos in which that I've watched, which there is oddly very little coverage on this thing. The best resource I found was actually the one in which on BGA, I watched a tutorial there and had an idea of what it does. The only information that we have now on what this is doing in addition to the OG Tikal, it says, in addition to exploring the jungle, controlling temples, and collecting treasures, you get to pick and perform actions in an order of your choosing. I'm not entirely sure what that means. And spending your action points is only one of the available options. Claim different terrains, benefit from card effects, manipulate the map, recruit additional expedition members, and do so much more. That is literally all we have right this second. Next up is Res Arcana Duo. Res Arcana Duo is a expansion / standalone 2-player variant, it looks like, with extra content that can be added into all the other expansions in base game. This is a well-loved tableau building, engine building game in this fantasy world in which you start with a mage and a magical item. And basically what you're trying to do is gain more resources, create an engine that allows you to flip some resources into other resources, buy special cards. I'm sorry, I don't know the proper terms that are out in a market, and continue to build your tableau and eventually gain 10 points. I've already kind of loosely been interested in this. Anytime there's a 2-player variant or specialization, it does lead me to believe that maybe there was something to be desired in the 2-player game. I don't know if you're a Res Arcana veteran out there, let me know in the comments. But I am excited to maybe make this my entry point into the series, other other than playing it on BGA. If I play a lot of 2-player games, this might be the reason to go and get into that Res Arcana universe. I really like that it is standalone. So if like I said, if you have any experience, let me know. Should I be excited about this or not? Right now, it's like a 6 or so. The cool thing is this does release in November. The bad thing is, similar to Tikal, there's very little information on what exactly this expansion is. In the forum on BGG, the designer will put out a designer preview that'll give much more information in the future as we get closer to that release. So other than what's already on there and what I said, that's basically it. There's not a lot much more out there to talk about, but it's up there because it's a well-loved game and people are getting excited about it. Next up is this teeny tiny game from a little publisher that really nobody knows about, Arcs Leader Games, previously well known for the likes of a little game called Root. I don't know if you've heard about Arcs or not. I'm being facetious there. This thing has been on the list the last 2 times, which I think is basically over a 2-month period. So this has been sitting on the top in the top 5 of the hotness, if not 1, for a really long time. This is turning out to be, as it's kind of going out into the wild and past like the hardcore hobbyists, it definitely has its detractors. It's very polarizing. I am on the favorable side. I've done a bunch of videos on it already if you're interested there, including the video in which I try to get my wife to play this game and also going over a lot of the negative criticism. Regardless, I won't go into really anything else. You can reference the other viral videos that I've done, or also I've never done a viral, the other videos in which I discuss viral games or my other Arcs coverage. Just know it's still sitting there at number 3. And number 2, I actually just got really excited. Side note, I found a podcast by Space Biff. Space Biff is this prolific game reviewer, and I thought only in the written form. I subscribed to his blog, but I found that he has a podcast and he interviews the designer for Leviathan Wilds, and just listening to that conversation got me more interested. I was vaguely interested in the first Kickstarter. It has hit now, and it's sitting in this number 2 place because so many people loved it. It's got its second crowdfunding campaign because it's basically sold out absolutely everywhere. And also the no pun effect is real, similar to Shut Up and Sit Down. If he likes it, it's going to vault up to the very top, and he just put a very favorable video out on this game. All of that is a confluence of extreme hype on a game that looks incredibly interesting. Basically, you pick a Leviathan to play. There's a booklet of a bunch of different monsters that you can go fight. It's a solo/co-op game, by the way. And the idea is there's crystals placed in the form of dice. I'm guessing the dice are the number of damage you have to do to get rid of it, but you get rid of all of those and you win the game. The interesting part is you start with a deck that's built based upon a character and a class that you choose, giving you kind of a specific or new combination each and every game if you want. And you use those cards. They're dual purpose cards that give you action points to move around the map and break these crystals. They also do special things. They have special abilities. So you have a hand of cards and you're trying to make tough decisions on the number of action points and the special ability you want to use. That's actually really similar to Defenders of the Wild, which is also why I want to play this game, because my son and I have had such a good time with Defenders of the Wild. I'd love to parlay that into new gameplay. Unfortunately, I can't get a copy right now. I'd love to play this thing. The other kind of cool part, and I think the big hook that is getting a lot of praise, are all of these Leviathans are acting completely differently, and that's because each Leviathan has a deck, and cards have effects that interact with symbols that are out on the map, or I guess out on its body. And if you're on one of those spaces, depending on the card that's drawn, there will likely be a negative effect. But I think there's a really wide variety, and I can't give any color because obviously I haven't played it, but it sounds like people that have are really liking playing each and every Leviathan. There's different levels and difficulties to kind of lead up to this new campaign. It looks like it's $110 all in for what amounts to, it looks like there's new deluxe components that are being thrown in there, along with an expansion. I don't know how big this expansion is or what exactly it is. You can go check out the crowdfunding campaign. I'll have it linked in the description. Regardless, I'm pretty hyped on this. I'd probably be sitting at like an 8. Unfortunately, if I have to like wait a year to get this thing, it'll probably fade back. Maybe I will try to find it on the secondhand market or do a trade. But anything that's typically this hot, it's gonna have to. I have to pay a pretty big penny. Hence me trying to make this channel self-sufficient. I'm excited about Leviathan Wilds. I'd like to play it right this second. I can't. Will I back it? Probably. This will probably be a game I back. I actually don't back a ton of stuff right now because I'm focused on getting stuff played to the channel, but this might be one I play, especially after listening to that podcast. So if you're interested and you listen to podcasts, go check that out. The number one game, which actually I'm the most hyped for because I can get it right this second. It's available on Amazon. I can get it to my house by 10 p.m. However, right after recording this, I'm going to my friendly local game store to see if they have it. It's actually an old game that's now being released in English, and according to Cardboard East, which, by the way, I recommend this video if you want to know more about this game. A really good video comparing old version, Japanese deluxe version to new version. It's a good watch. But according to Cardboard East, this is the highest rated Japanese non-card game. Scout is the number one highest rated Japanese game currently. So that had piqued my interest. The gist of the game is you're trying to fulfill these different orders. These different orders are connected to other countries. If you fulfill multiple orders with the same country, you start to get bigger and bigger benefits. It also helps towards in-game scoring. Basically, you have this pyramid or tableau of different action spaces. Each action space, when you take the action, has a variable power, and that power is set based upon the number of pieces you have on there. Each turn, you have the possibility of placing 3 assistants out to 3 different places, or 2 assistants to 1 place, giving a really interesting kind of friction decision around what you're going to place and where. Are you thinking long-term, or do you really need power in a space short-term? And that power is important because it gives you a better and better action. You can also build things. There's 2 different types of buildings you have on a player board. And as you build those out, they can trigger extra bonuses. There's bonus tiles and different symbols in which that you build on top of that gives you more stuff. This looks like this has a really great decision space, a lot of interconnected parts. It's something I'm absolutely interested in. And hopefully I'm playing it today. If you want to hear about anything about it, if you want to hear my perspective on it, let me know in the comments. I might not cover it because it looks like there's some pretty decent coverage on it already, but I just want to play it. So I am pretty hyped about it, hyped enough to go out into rainy Seattle and try to find this game right now. And that is it. Tikal Legends, Res Arcana, Arcs, Leviathan Wild, and Yokohama. That is the hottest games in the entire world right this second. If you like this type of content, let me know in the comments. If you are hyped on any of these games and want to see coverage on any of them, want me to pursue any of them, or you're just excited and you want to play them, let me know that in the comments as well. I'd love to talk with you there. And with all of that said, thank you very much for being here. Have yourself a great week.